What up? We're in here. Let's go. LoopedIn podcast. I am your host, Shannon Jamar Eaton Sangster, better known on Instagram as Jamar Eaton. But yo, what is good? I'm hyped. This is dope. I've been looking forward to kicking off this show for a minute. It's been in the back of my head for a while. I want to chop game about golf. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is obviously a bunch of dope people doing dope stuff in the golf space right now. Shout out to the homie Roger Steele. Shout out to homie Matt Kang. But I had to throw my 2 cents in. I want to chop about what's happening on course. I want to chop about what's going on off course, what the brands are doing, what the style looks like. I want to talk about swings, talk to coaches. I really want to fully tap into this experience of golf, what's going on in the world right now. And then of course I'm working on a couple of my own things right now, Bottega Bluffs, you dig, and one or two other projects that I'm constantly kind of working on behind the scenes right now that shall see the light of day in a little bit here. But yeah, gonna start documenting some of that as well. But for the most part, just want to wrap golf. We're gonna have a few guests on the show. We're gonna have some other folks tapping in. We might go live a couple times. I got mad ideas to bring to life for this. Quick little backstory. I started caddying when I was 14, 15 years old at the local country club. My uncle got me a job. I didn't play at that country club, but my uncle definitely did. My dad played a bunch of golf though with him and his homies. As I tell people, my dad played golf on Sunday. My mom went to church. You know what I'm saying? So a bunch of blue collar dudes playing at the local public courses. Maybe playing for a few bucks around on the bets. But as my dad would say, it was just really a space to go have fun. Kick it with the homies and really community. Like, that's really what it was. It was any given weekend, my dad would have 3 to 4 set tee times at a local course, and he would have this list next to the phone, to the dial-up phone, feel me, in the crib. And I can remember him vividly, you know what I'm saying, like once a week, going through that list, going down, oh, hey, what up? Yeah, okay, you playing this week? All right. Proctor, what's good? You playing this week? All right. Oh, you can't make it. All right, I'm gonna cross you off the list. My dad would just hold like 3 tee times, and he was a facilitator, he was an organizer. So my dad was early in the game on sort of being a community lead for the local golf community. But the dopest part about that is I learned to love the game. I remember vividly where I was, speaking of the Masters this past week, McElroy winning. I remember vividly where I was when Tiger won his first Masters, sitting at the crib with my mom watching golf. My mom plays golf now. She's in 2 golf leagues. Supposedly my mom's parents, rather, my grandparents, who I didn't really get a chance to meet because they kind of passed away when I was really young, but supposedly they played golf as well, which, for Black folks, in the 50s and 60s to be playing golf, 70s to be playing golf, sports of leisure at the time, come on, stop it. So yeah, it's something that, I've been, playing for a while. Recently, I say over the last like 7-8 years, tried to get better at. I'm not all the way there yet. I'm hovering around a 13 handicap right now, but we're trying to get that to single digits. But yeah, anyway, I want to chop golf, and that's why we're here. And coming off a crazy week, right? Rory McIlroy just won the Masters. He completes the career Grand Slam. And it was dramatic. It was cinematic. It had every piece of the hero's journey that you could have. He was up, he was down. It would look like he was fighting himself. He was fighting off villains like Bryson DeChambeau. You know what I'm saying? He had his guide, his caddy helping him out. He made some amazing shots down the stretch there, some of which we'll look at. But emotionally, just what was that we just witnessed? It was like he was going through literally every single emotion. I mean, he knocked a shot in on 13. Look at me as a bad podcast host. We got to look this up right quick. He knocked a shot in late late in the round on Sunday, made an amazing swing and draw shot for a birdie to go back to 11 under down the stretch. I mean, it was such a up and down coming down the stretch, but an amazing effort. And his reaction when he finished was just like sweet relief. you know like he was so relieved that punt went in. And it was just from a sports perspective, even if he wasn't a golf fan, like it was such an amazing experience to just watch him down the stretch, battling against himself, battling the course, battling other opponents, to ultimately come home as the champion. And I mean, I think a lot of things have changed for Rory over the last year. He specifically said that, himself. He said he feels like the most complete golfer that he ever felt like he was coming into this. And surely mentally, a lot of things changed for him. He did miss a couple of close putts down the stretch last year to lose the U.S. Open after having a chance to win. So, I mean, even in this tournament, right? Like he was 4 under with 4 holes left on Thursday, and went 4 over through 4 holes to drop back to even. Played a heck of a round on Friday to get back to I believe 6 under, which was also just showed some moxie, showed some courage to get out there. And because typically in these tournaments, Roy gets off to a really bad start, especially at the Masters. And then it's like he's fighting to get back in the mix all week. And it's just tough to do at that course with how they set it up, especially going into the weekend. So, yeah, for him to get back to 7 under, or 6 under, excuse me, on Friday, and then, be right in the mix on Saturday or moving day, shot another 6 under to go into the last round with the lead against Bryson. So it was just entertaining. It was entertaining. A tradition like any other. I mean, I was yelling and screaming at the TV. Friends are texting. My mom's texting me. My girlfriend's going even crazy watching the TV. She's a big Rory fan now after watching that whole experience. Like, it was ultimately just an amazing cinema. And I mean, even down to the last hole. I mean, he double bogeys 13, right? That's when he goes into the creek, which is just crazy that he hit that in the creek. I think he was almost like 85 yards out or something, and just pulled something right into the creek, which is just ridiculous for someone of his caliber. But then comes right back and bogeys again on 14, so he gives up 3 strokes. And then I think arguably, there was a lot of big shots in the tournament, but I think arguably what was the biggest shot was the drive on 15 was huge. Just for him to put that in the fairway. I mean, you're on the back 9. It's the Masters. You just gave up 3 strokes. Ultimately, Justin Rose was balling down the stretch, so ultimately gave up the lead, and now you're tied. And he put one in the fairway, just on the edge of the fairway, but it was his second shot into the green, a big, huge hook and draw that was just, I think, arguably one of the best shots of the tournament. I mean, it dropped on the green, was rolling towards the hole. Let me get sophisticated with my game right quick here, because I do have the Masters website open, and dopest website ever created, right? Like, you can literally go back and watch the whole tournament, swing for swing, shot for shot, which is crazy. So yeah, let's take a look right quick. Down the stretch here, Roy puts it in the fairway. Let's take a look. Let's see. Let's go back. So this is his second shot, and to me, this is this was the best shot of the tournament, because I think just being in this position, right? Um, it was crazy at the time. You're just coming off of a double and a bogey. You're now tied, you know, for the lead, and you got to make a move. Like this is your tournament right here. This shot can make or break you, and the way he just stepped up to that and nailed it was amazing to me. He ended up missing the putt for eagle, but went back um, to 11 under after that. Justin Rose again was balling down the stretch, and Rogi Rory stepped up on 17 and needed a birdie here. Really needed a birdie. He was tied for the lead at this point, and again, I think that was 3-wood off the tee. I don't think he took driver. It had to be maybe even 5-wood because it was 250 yards to the fairway. And I think this is honestly one of the second biggest shots of the tournament, because he ended up birdieing this hole, and went on to go into the 18th. Sadly, he was in the middle of the fairway. His second shot, he puts this one into the bunker. I'm screaming at the TV at this point. I couldn't believe it. He's in the middle of the fairway, up one, going into 18, and puts this one in the bunker. I couldn't believe it. I don't think anybody could believe it. And he's even leaning. He knew it as soon as he hit it. And unfortunately, he had a good out of the bunker too, but no pressure on him, and he makes that putt 9 out of 10 times. Major Sunday, Rory last hole, maybe 7 out of 10 times, but so he bogeys 18 and goes into the playoff. And steps up. I'm not going to do a full recap. You can go back and catch some of this stuff for yourself, but steps up in 18, puts another one in the playoff, steps up in the playoff against Justin Rose, Justin Rose made a crazy putt on round 4. Okay, we talking golf. I'm gonna go all the way. I'm gonna go all the way in. We're gonna talk golf. Justin Rose made an amazing putt on 18. I'm gonna pull that up too right quick, because this is just for the career, for the experience. It was a legendary putt. It will go down as one of the best putts in Justin Rose's career. He was up against a giant on Sunday. Again, when I was watching this, Justin just hit it into the center of the green. When I was watching this, I didn't think he had a chance to make this, but he makes this putt to go 11 under. Huge putt. He's 10 under at the time. The way he turned to the crowd and just being a legend. Previously I actually worked for a company called Excel Sports Management. They manage a host of golf athletes. They're one of the biggest golf agencies in the world. Famously, they manage Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods' agent Mark Steinberg created the golf division at Excel. They also manage Justin Rose. They managed Max Homa and Justin Thomas and a host of other golfers, but had the chance to meet Justin Rose down at the Players Championship for work one year. Just a class dude. He's a really good dude. I think throughout the years he's caught a little bit of a bad rap at times for whatever reason, but I think later in his career he's just such a class dude. The way he handled losing to Rory, the way he handled everything was just top tier professionalism. There wasn't any. He stepped up to the mic. He stepped up in his post press conference and just really faced everything with just such grace and just such it sucks. I wanted to win, but that making that putt on 18 is why I'm here, putting myself in a chance to win. On Sunday is why I'm still playing the game at 44, and I've had some chances over the last couple of years, he said, to win, That's why I'm still here. Obviously, I want to come out with a trophy. He said I want to come out with a dub, but yeah, just amazing moments in golf this past weekend. But two, I wanted to talk about. So Roy's gone through some swing changes over the last year. Famously, I think it was this past offseason or going into the offseason, he was on Instagram actually talking about his swing. I'm gonna pull up a couple things here as well, just to show you. He was just talking about getting his arms in a better position. Roy had an issue with, for those that sort of understand the swing, Roy had an issue with getting stuck in his swing, meaning he would, in his backswing, he would get a little across the plane, meaning the club face would be across in the golf swing. There's a swing plane that you stay on, right? And his club face would get across the plane and be almost, you know, pointed right of the target in his backswing. When he would come through, he would get a little stuck, and then he would essentially get over top of the club and excuse me, he would get behind and get stuck. He actually at times could have a double miss. I mean, he's typically been known as, especially with the driver, as a high flight drawer of the ball, but he would get stuck with his iron specifically and come in sort of behind and be missing right. And it happened a few times through the U.S. Opens last year, and you can see it on the Netflix documentary First Swing that's up right now. I think it was after the U.S. Open last year that he really came in and he told his team, like, I've got to make some changes. I should have made them long ago. And so he really did work on that this off season. So I'm gonna bring up the video now where he's talking about this, famously sort of being recorded, which is interesting that this happened last year, and coming into the season he's already won 3 times, right? He won the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, he won the Players, which is almost kind of like the first major of the year. It's the first big tournament of the year outside the first major, being at Augusta National and the Masters. But here goes Rory talking about his swing, which is pretty interesting. And I wonder, I'm still figuring this out. Hold with me. I wonder if you're going to be able to hear the audio here. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this audio. I don't know if you heard the audio on the first one. We'll see. So I don't know if you can hear this audio. We're going to see post recording, but essentially what he's talking about here is getting in the right position. He's saying if he gets his set and his right arm structure set early, all he needs to do is turn, and he's in a better position. So when he does make that turn, his arms are already in a better position than when he swings through there in front of his body instead of being stuck behind. And a lot of things that aren't really sort of talked about, I haven't seen this take yet, is that he was working with something called the Pro Cinder for quite a bit this season or last season. And that Pro Cinder really encourages him to, and golfers alike, anybody can really use this. I'm going to try to pull up a video of him using this as well, is really getting set early in his swing with the Pro Cinder. It's a really cool tool that you can use that allows you to again get set early and really just get your arms in the right place. And let me see if I can find this video, but I haven't really seen this take yet, and it's been interesting to. Here we go. Found it. Man, I'm getting a hang of this. rookie, rookie out here, trying to, figure out how to get to the right content. Let me see if I can find the right one here. So here it is. Again, not sure if you can hear the sound, but I'm going to share screen again. And I swear we're going to get better at this. So you should be able to hear the audio here.
To do with what I'm thinking of with the left. But like for me, what was happening was that like I would get it up here, but I wouldn't get it into this position. I'd get it up like so. Then I'm like, I don't know where to go.
Yeah.
But if I just have it, at least the club's a bit behind me, I can be like, okay, well I can just rotate.
Yeah.
So
I've been trying to get like elbow and this and that, where it's like this just makes it happen.
Yeah.
So as you can tell here, he's really talking about how this device, and I'll share a link in the show notes to both this and the Pro Sender, but how the Pro Sender naturally allows you to get set earlier in the swing and just get into the right position. I mean, this was from May of last year, so essentially, just close to this time last year, where he's already talking about getting in, the right swing position, where he either gets too steep or he gets too shallow, he gets too across, and he gets behind, and it was just leading to inconsistencies in his swing. So, nobody post sort of all swing eval and everything that's the conversations that have been had. No, I haven't really seen anybody talk about him using the Pro Sender last year. I think it's sort of second thought at this point, but it was such a huge piece for him. I think probably starting on his journey to get in the right place, and then that first video I just showed of him getting into that right position with his swing, and a simple fix for a player of his caliber to be able to make that slight adjustment and look at the consistencies. We've seen this dude has won 3 times already this year, including his 4th major, the Grand Slam, and really cemented himself as one of the best players in golf history. I mean, he's that guy. He is officially in the mix for being, again, one of the best players all time. And again, I'll share in the show notes something in Golf Digest that Golf Digest did late last year, talking about this. And it also sort of goes into him talking about how he wanted to change his swing last year. So Rory McIlroy, congrats. I mean, such a big deal for him to win, and I just ultimately think it's great for golf. You know what I'm saying? It's good for golf. There's such a division between LIV and the PGA Tour still, and the only chance that we get to see these cats play together is during the majors. And how amazing was the Masters? There were so many people in the mix, coming down the last few holes on Sunday, that it was an exciting golf tournament. It was great for sports, and ultimately, Rory gets the win. So I'll share a link to a couple of these things in the show notes so that you can check them out real quick here. This was after the US Open last year. I just want to show you this to round out, because this was the monumental change. I do think this is when he really made the big change to his swing, and look at the impact that it's made this year in his ability to just be consistent He's one of the longest drivers on tour. The way he can overpower courses with the driver, he just needed to get dialed and consistent with his irons, and voila, here we are. That putter stays somewhat consistent. Kind of like Scotty last year, we could see another legendary run. So, yeah, again, here is Rory talking about, how he needed to change his swing.
Changes. And said, my technique, it's not good enough. I need to change it, and I should have changed it already. I think he was probably right, to be honest, and that's why he's starting to tune things up now. So I actually had a quick chat with Rory about this last week. Here's the video from that interaction. And he said that the cause of this across the line issue in his golf swing actually comes on the takeaway. Right. Because Rory tends to take the club outside of his hands with the club face shut. That can cause a series of events that can lead the club to get across the line.
So again, I just explained a lot of this, but I'll share that in the show notes. You can tap in, watch full swing, right out on Rory's swing, and how he's been able to make the turn, make those changes, and win his last, or his hopefully not his last, win his most recent major, be the last person to win the Grand Slam. I don't know if we're going to see that for quite some time. There's a couple other players in the mix. Spieth, a lot of pressure on Spieth now to win the Grand Slam, but yeah, that is the Masters. That's Rory McIlroy. First segment. Second segment, I wanted to chat. There's a lot of brands that sort of are back in the mix for golf right now, but nobody is doing it as good, to my opinion, as Malbon Golf. I mean, Malbon's just crushing it right now. Like, to me, outside, the Masters is by no means Art Basel. It feels like, for any of you familiar, it feels like every year during Art Basel, it's like the spot for all the cool kids and sort of influencers or what have you to be. And you always just catch, all the parties and the events and everything else going on. And it's like, it's kind of like, of course, this is where everybody's at. It used to be that for festivals, not so much anymore. I feel like Art Basel took that. And for the golf world, waste management is a thing, but I feel like to some degree, like Tuesday, Wednesday at the Masters, we're starting to see, the creators show up. I mean, shout out to Roger Steele again. Roger had a whole damn show this year with Haley, and I think it was called Masters in the Morning. Check that out on YouTube. I'll throw it in the show notes too. It was pretty good. Roger's absolutely crushing it right now, but yeah, the Masters is never going to be Art Basel. It's never going to, you literally cannot take a camera in Thursday through Sunday. But with that being said, we've yet to see really any of the new school brands, if you would. And I would say old school brands. I don't know if I've seen Jordan Brand or Nike Golf or a FootJoy, for that matter, do anything so publicly visible on social media. Like, they might have, private dinners or their own sort of activations, but have not seen anybody activate in the way that Malbon did this last Masters. They had their own house, which, for anybody familiar, I've not been to the Masters yet, but again, like I said, I did used to work for a golf agency, and it's a big deal. Like, essentially, if you're a big brand, if you're Morgan Stanley or one of these bigger corporations, and you want to host your clients or prospective clients for a few days down at the Masters, they rent out a house close to the course, which they'll run all of their hospitality out of. They'll do breakfast service, they'll do dinners out of those houses, they'll do lunch service, they'll do their evening events, they'll do talks, so on and so forth. So it's definitely not something new to the playbook or new to the ecosystem surrounding Augusta. I mean, it's literally been happening for the last 20, 30 years, in regard to the sort of hospitality around Augusta for the Masters. But I've yet to see one of the new brands, and Malbon just, continues to break all rules when it comes to new brands, signing, professional golfers and just activating in ways that nobody else can. So I thought that Malbon, just the way they were able to show up at the Masters. Obviously, last year, Jason Day was told to take off his sweater vest because it was too loud, and Augusta wanted to see his scripting this year. They wanted to see what he was wearing this year. So yeah, I mean, the intro even to just what was going on. It was a rainy intro to the week this week in Augusta. And to kind of put my brand hat on for a second, typically when you're doing brand activations like this, you want to couple that with a product launch. You want to be able in your activation to talk about something that you are releasing and leverage the moment, leverage the press, leverage all the ambassadors and creators and influencers and people that are going to be in the space to talk about a very specific product, drive awareness around that product, drive some engagement around that product, and hopefully, drive some conversion and sales. So they had just done, Malbon had just done released a collaboration, the top of Masters Week with Futura, artist Futura. They had a full rain suit, a couple polos, hats, shorts, pants. Ended up looking really good. I think they had a golf bag as well. But again, I'm going to show the launch, and they highlight some of that Futura gear in this small little advert, this small little piece of content that this is essentially, welcoming everybody to come tap into Malbon Home, they called it. I mean, such a G move. One other quick note here, just like backstory. Malbon, a lot of people don't know, but Stefan Malbon is an OG of culture, and one of the reasons why I think Malbon has crushed it thus far is because he understands culture, he understands community. He comes from an era, him and his brother used to run a magazine called Frank 151, which back in the day, I don't think I have any here, but it was like a magazine that was essentially like maybe like this big, right? And it was just like a little culture magazine, and it used to be like in the local skate shops and in the local sneaker boutiques. When I was living in Chicago, like St. Alfred, they always used to be in St. Alfred or Uprise, and Frank 151 used to do, events and parties, and I think they had a couple sort of like field marketing folks like in different markets, like, activating for them. But there was a high amount of respect for Frank 151, from all the kids in the culture and the creative kids, because it was a dope little zine, and they were just putting out. This was like pre-Instagram, pre even like heavy Twitter, where if you were catching content, if you were catching what was going on, you were catching the stories, you had to go open up a magazine. This is like Complex magazine before Complex was like known as like, this Instagram entity. But that's where Malbon comes from. His brother owned Frank's Chop Shop in New York as well. Like they get it. And I think the reason why he's been able to translate the brand so well and, come into these moments so proper is that he gets it. He gets how a brand should move. He gets how to sort of blend scenes and integrate, this intersection of culture. So without further ado, this was the advert. We'll run this back. It's raining. We got the rain in the background here. And this is just dope. Nobody else is doing this. The house is branded. You got the new gear. Obviously, they had a host of sponsors as well. And then, they did Malbon Home too. I mean, they did like a walkthrough of the crib, which I also thought was dope. Just to give people that, weren't there, like a preview, like this is what's happening. I mean, we definitely live in this era where
come check out the Malbon house.
FOMO.
Here we
So
have
again,
our
I'll link a lot of this in the show
where you
notes.
can
But
come in and get coffee, some espresso,
just so
So here we have
dope.
our Nespresso
Again,
lockers showcasing
and
some
I don't know if
Malbon
the
and
sound is
Nespresso
coming through.
products.
First, this is my
Our
first
beautiful viewing room
first
to
show
enjoy the
episode. I'm sure
masters
I'll
from
learn
home.
more after this, but just so
We have
dope.
an
I
amazing
mean,
chef.
they ended up crushing it. Like, pop through, pull up, and get some food, get some bites, get some personalized gear, get your little recovery on, get a coffee, and then hopefully maybe score some tickets to a Thursday or Friday round. But nobody's on Malbon's level right now. I mean, mad respect to a few of the other brands that are out right now, but yeah, they're top tier. With that being said, last segment, because we're running a little bit longer than I thought I would today, but wanted to talk Brand Jordan. Both Brand Jordan and Adidas are fully back in the game. Adidas sort of confused me this week because they so Adidas Originals. We'll talk about Adidas first, and then we'll talk about Jordan Brand, and then we'll wrap this thing up. But really quick, Adidas launched back into Originals, launched back into golf this week, and I was sort of confused by it because to me, golf still sits in performance. Obviously, there is a lifestyle aspect of it, but the trifold, is more so their lifestyle brand, but they still have an Adidas Golf Instagram. So they had Ludwig Aberg, who's their premier golf athlete right now, one of the best young golfers in the game, wearing the gear. And I didn't just hot take here. First hot take. I didn't love it. It kind of looked like my boy Damon called out. It kind of looked like Bogey Boys, like they took from Bogey Boys and just kind of created their own thing. But again, it was confusing because it's just like, okay, is this is now the lifestyle gear? Like where's this supposed to sit in the larger ecosystem of Adidas? And I'm probably thinking about it much more from a brand lens and a brand standpoint. But I guess am I wearing Originals and performance on the course? And am I maybe pairing this Originals pants with a performance polo? When I think about consumer journeys and I put on my brand hat again, and I put on my brand marketing hat, it just gets confusing in terms of where a classic Adidas Golf or Originals is supposed to sit next to performance. And yeah, I don't know. Adidas has always been a little confusing to me in that way, in terms of well maybe not. I mean, some things are obviously performance related. Some things are very much so meant to be running shoes, or something's meant to be sort of like a hoodie or sweatsuit on the Originals end. But here's Ludwig rocking this green that was just atypical for obviously Masters. And again, I don't know, I just didn't, to me it didn't translate well, like the styling, whatever, it just didn't translate well. And I think the overall feedback here is good, which is good for them. And I might be overthinking it, but there's something to say about big brands jumping back in. I mean, we were last year, as Tiger left Nike Golf, we were a year away from, we're just a year out of, was it last year or year before? Time moves so quick now. But I mean, recently Tiger leaves Nike Golf. There was all sorts of conversation about Nike Golf going away. And now, there's rumors that Rory is done with Nike after this year, but big investment from big brands jumping back in the game, primarily because kind of like running right now too, if anybody's familiar, you've got your Bandit runnings of the world, you've got your Satisfies runnings of the world, and some of these smaller brands have been able to grab some market share from the larger brands just because they're a lot more nimble. They're more community focused. Their ability to sort of engage with people and present something different is really great. And I think that's what Malbon's been able to do. I think that's what Quiet Golf's been able to do. Obviously, the East Sides of the world, Manners is absolutely crushing it as well. So I think the bigger brands are seeing this and, jumping, water's warm, jumping back in. Golf participation is at an all-time high. The Masters just had the most viewership that it's had, I believe, since 2017, 2018. They were up 33% over last year. So, golf's doing really well right now in many ways, shapes, or form, especially indoor golf, which we'll touch on in a second. But yeah, Jordan Brand is back. It seemed like every creator, hype golf affiliate, anybody who talks about golf online was at the Jordan release. And shout out to Brand Jordan for getting all the right people in the mix. You surely couldn't miss it for a couple days after the Masters earlier this week. This is Golf Projects and Scratch. Golf Projects does a great job covering kind of what's happening with style in the game right now. But as you can see, anybody who's anybody in sort of the creative community was there, down at Michael Jordan's course in Florida, the Grove, which is just also dope because you can't just pull up to the Grove and play golf. Like you've got to know somebody. So yeah, it was dope in terms of this is a great playbook to drive some awareness around a new launch. Obviously, the vibes are high, the aesthetic is there. They featured this new shoe here that they just is their hero product, if you would, coming out of this launch. Some mixed reviews on that online. We'll see how it plays off. As you can see, there are some retro models, and I think what people really want to wear on course, it looks like will be coming out this year as well. But I thought the brand, for one thing, did a really good job of just driving awareness around this launch. There looks like a couple of good apparel pieces in there too. So yeah, Brand Jordan is Jordan Brand is back in the golf game. It's kind of interesting to see. Like golf is just at such a wild place right now. I mean, I'm literally sitting here recording a show talking about where golf is at, but my eyes sort of been to the grindstone for a minute. I'm just finally getting on the airwaves to talk about it. A couple more highlights from Hype Golf, the homies over at Hype Golf, kind of just showing the vibes. And again, I'll throw some of this stuff in the show notes, but yeah, it's interesting to see just where golf is at from an apparel standpoint, style standpoint in general. Obviously, I got something to say about it. We'll take a bluffs on the way. But yeah, super dope that these brands are tapping back in. So yeah, ultimately, episode 1. I mean, the game of golf is in a good year. It's in a good space. It's been a good year thus far for golf. I think it needs superstars. It needs somebody like Rory McIlroy back in the game, and balling at an all-time high. I mean, he's won 3 times this year. We'll see what happens the rest of the year. Again, golf participation, 2024 was one of the biggest years ever for golf participation at large. 36 million people played off course last year. That means like Top Golf on a simulator, that's up 10% from 2023. And that means more people played off-course golf, like on a simulator, or like at a Top Golf, than actually played on-course golf. 28 million people played on course. So, the game is in a strong place. I know ratings for TV, PGA, TGL, the new golf league on ESPN, which we'll get into in the next episode, even though the season's over, I think had, a good year. If you're not familiar with that, I'll throw that in the show notes as well. But again, they had one of the best years ever in terms of just like first season. I say best years ever. They've only had 1 year, but yeah, I mean, they had one of the best launches that you could ask for. Again, a lot of hype and a lot of celebrity engagement and interaction there, with celebrities signing on to invest in teams. And again, like, it's simulator golf, it's not on course. The banter, the entertainment value is much higher because the game moves much faster. The reason why simulators are so popular is because it moves much faster. It's not as overwhelming or sort of intimidating to go hit on a simulator as it is to go to a golf course and, you know, have to play 9 holes and hold up the group behind you or what have you. So you know, this group that's also playing simulator golf or off course is way more diverse as well. It's you know, there's a higher number of people of color, Black folks, Latinos, etc. There's more women that are playing off course golf, and it's just because it's a lot easier and it's way more accessible than having to get on course. So the game is definitely growing. There's a lot of brands and folks and people that have been, you know, integral in that narrative, but it's been really dope to see. Don't get me started on the rise of YouTube golf and Create a Classic. We'll surely get into that in episodes to come. But yo, this was dope. This was fun. First episode, Looped In. I am Shannon Jamar Eaton Sangster, and yeah, hyped to the Chop game about golf this year. Get some people on the show. We'll be heading out to some events, doing some live broadcasts. So yeah, more to come. See you soon. If anybody watches this at all, thanks for tuning in. Talk to you.